Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's time for another great Cover Killer Nation review. Brought to you by Triscuits, a snack that makes you shit. At any rate, today we're going to be talking about an EP as opposed to a full-length LP. We're going to be talking about the first of a 4-part EP series by the band Down, which is entitled Down 4, Purple. And that's this one right here. This was released just this past Tuesday, September the 18th of 2012, and the other 3 are going to be released periodically throughout the year of our Lord 2013, of course. That is, of course, if we don't die in December. Well, the first thing that you're going to notice whenever you listen to this album is that you kind of feel like you've heard this before. You know, almost like this is business as usual, only maybe not as strong a material, and it's kind of a weird feeling. You know, at first, and whenever I listened to this EP, I actually thought that Down had kind of flopped a little bit. Mainly because it just felt like the material had a little bit of bearing behind it. However, whenever it came to an overall flow and an overall feel, the very first time around, it just didn't really flow or feel like very strong whenever I first listened to it. But this is an album, or an EP rather, that you're going to have to listen to a couple of times. If it doesn't hit you right away, definitely continue to listen to this EP because it eventually does reveal itself to you. I think the reason why it was kind of difficult for me to see it is that I was left with such a great feeling and such a great taste in my mouth after Down 3, especially after the concluding song off of that album, Nothing in Return, Walk Away, where it just was a long, lengthy song where the band just kind of, you know, stepped back a little bit and kind of just let it groove a little bit, really let a lot of density occur, even though the overall concept of the song was relatively simple. And Phil just was bemoaning these lyrics that just, you know, had a lot of power behind it, even though it was kind of done in a more simplistic style. Whenever you listen to a song like that, if it's the last thing that's kind of in your memory, and you listen to this EP, then you can kind of be disappointed a little bit by it, with the exception of tracks such as The Curse Is a Lie. However, whenever you kind of remove yourself from that situation, whenever you look at this completely and totally objectively and actually get some sleep, then you start to realize that this EP is exquisitely solid. It actually kind of blends a little bit more of the first period of time, the first kind of 5 to 10 years of their career a lot better, and represents it a little bit better than, say, the latter portion of their career. Because there is a little bit more of that same stylings, even though Rex Brown is no longer in the band. There's definitely a little bit of something from almost every part of their career located on this EP. The one portion of their career that is not represented is the softer material that you hear more predominantly on Down 2, A Bustle in Your Hedgerow, and there's a track like Never Try that you hear on Down 3. You're not going to hear Stone the Crow in here, which was of course off of NOLA, but you're going to hear Witch Tripper, which is definitely a solid track, and Levitation is a pretty interesting opener. I think the biggest disappointment for me was in the very last track, which was The Misfortune Teller. Whenever I first popped this in and I started to listen, and I was looking just at song track lengths, and I saw that this last track was 9 minutes in length. I'm thinking, oh man, you know, this is really taking me back to seeing the track length from Down 3 for Nothing in Return and other tracks. It's the longer tracks that Down puts out that I tend to really enjoy the most, I notice, mainly because it gives them that freedom to kind of just slow it down and really focus a lot more on pacing, harmony, environment, and atmosphere. And they really were able to build that together into that nice paint-peeling, light the weed for you stoner metal. But Misfortune Teller really kind of fell a little bit flat in the idea that it was a rockin' track, which was an awesome thing, but it just exhibited a very long fade out after about the 5-minute mark, and really didn't even utilize all of the 9 minutes that it was claimed to be. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. The song itself is actually pretty solid. That's more of a personal effect that I felt. However, the song itself is solid. In fact, these 6 tracks, there's only really like one song that I can think of that really is just kind of, I guess, average after you listen to this. You know, whenever I listen to this, Work is Timeless. It has a nice little break in it, a nice instrumental break in it, but aside from that, the song itself is kind of rough. However, aside from that, this is an EP that actually flows rather consistently and just has a very nice overall feel to it. So, in all honesty, this is one that I was semi-wrong about at first, but that's the reason why you start listening to things again and again and again. And I know some people have criticized me for that, but what can I say? I'm on a tight time schedule as it is, for one, and number two, most of the time whenever I listen to something, I can tend to sort of understand it at first. This is one of those strange cases, though, where I was kind of going off of a lot of previous experience, instead of looking at this originally with kind of open eyes and open arms. Well, I think the real lesson here is that I shouldn't listen and review albums at 3 in the morning, so yeah, I'm definitely damned for that one. But overall, this EP is definitely solid. It may not seem like it has the same punch or the same, savoir-faire that the full-length albums have, but it's going to be interesting to actually listen to all 4 of these EPs once they've been released, back to back to back to back to back, and actually see what an album of these EPs would sound like, because I'm sure the result would be pretty interesting. But anyway, guys, I would have to give this EP definitely a strong 7.75 out of 10. After kind of feeling a little bit rough about it originally, I've definitely warmed up to this. This is definitely an album where if you didn't enjoy it the first time, the first run through, just keep on listening. Just keep on going, because this one will reveal itself to you. And listen to it in an environment that maybe is unlike your traditional environment. Kind of switch it up a little bit. Because the very first couple of times I listened to this, I was in this room, and I really wasn't feeling it all that much. But whenever I popped this in my car and was driving around, that's whenever it revealed itself to me. So sometimes a simple change of environment can make all the difference. That's my lesson to you. And also, if you don't want to poo, don't eat Triscuits. Later.